Hello and welcome back to Doki Doki Drawing. Today we're here with Rai Star.
Hi everyone, I'm Rystar. I am the creator of Magical Beast Sherbert, which is a magical girl anime series and manga based on the internet mascot character Sherbert.
Can you tell us a little bit about who Sherbert is? Because Sherbert doesn't look like the human guest characters that we normally have on Doki Doki Drawing.
No, Sherbert is a magical creature from an alternate version of Earth called Lilacia. He's come to our world and he has adventures in the anime continuum. He teams up with a girl named Erika and makes her into a magical girl, and they fight evil together.
So I heard the word continuum. Are you telling me that Sherbert is a multiverse?
Yeah, you can. yes.
We've got the anime Sherbert coming in production. There's already some manga episodes already on the Sherbert channel, but the main thing probably people have either seen already until this point is the Sherbert channel, where they see like animated versions of Sherbert or in real life. Talk to me more about what Sherbert gets up to.
We've got videos on Japan, like travelogues and cultural videos with Sherbert. We've got comedy, of course, various art challenges, and a series that we've been working on called What Are You Doing, Sherbert? Where Sherbert basically tries out different jobs that he's seen on Japanese television. You know, Sentai, Tokusatsu, Kamen Rider, and Power Rangers and all that. Ninja, sumo wrestling. Got an episode where he tried manzai, Japanese comedy.
That is probably one of the tougher challenges. I don't even think there are humans who would like to try that.
It was a really interesting aspect of Japanese culture to learn the difference between American comedy and Japanese stand-up comedy.
What does Sherbert find like to be the general challenge? Sherbert's not like us, right? You know, arms and all a bit fluffier, takes up a little bit more volume. Does Sherbert carry the hammer around?
The hammer is currently in the repair hangar. After being broken into several pieces and accidentally forgotten in a hotel in Aichi.
Neglect.
It's not neglect, it's just someone offered to fix it and then we forgot.
Tell me about, especially because on Doki Doki Drawing, most of the viewers are most interested in like drawing, but especially like Japanese produced anime and manga. And I don't know of that many, well, I suppose, original mascot characters who also have their own anime and a manga in addition to their YouTube channel. So can you tell us quickly first about the anime?
It's a multiverse magical girl series.
Not many of them.
No, Sherbert accidentally coming to Tokyo, our Tokyo.
Accidentally.
And he accidentally brings these evil creatures with him from his world to our world. And in order to fight them, he teams up with Togawa Erika, who is just a normal 11-year-old girl, and he gives her magical powers. And they fight together, and they form this bond, sort of like a bond of trust and friendship. And as they grow more powerful together, they gain more abilities, and this bond becomes stronger. The premise is, what's the strongest bond in the universe?
So it's like interesting that you've got a Sherbert character who is creature, but mixing with the magical girl series, but it's the opposite of what we would normally see in a magical girl show, because Sherbert is the main character, not the girl, and yet still going and giving magical powers to the girl in true standard magical girl anime style.
The backstory is that it wasn't always a magical girl series. Originally, it took on a much darker tone. It was basically like monster characters with murder. The original villains of the series, who also in part carry over to the new series, their original power was they could shapeshift into the last living thing that they ate. It was pretty dark. Like, they were eating people and then disguising themselves as that person and integrating into their life in order to like gain access to resources or influence other people. And it was up to Sherbert to find out who was real and who was fake and then destroy them all.
Well, that brings me on to my next big question, which is, as the producer on the anime development of this, at what point do you make these decisions where it's like, okay, Sherbert's going to be zany, running around with a hammer and samurai swords on the YouTube channel, to being like quite a dark sort of shape-shifting.
The direction that the YouTube channel takes is not directly related to the anime. The premise of the YouTube channel is that Sherbert is having adventures. The core of that premise, that Sherbert is exploring our world and he's fascinated with it, carries over into the anime series. He's always had that sort of excitement and that fascination with the human world once he discovered it. That part of it carries over, but there's not much of a story behind Sherbert just wandering around. For an anime series, you have to have a plot, you have to have antagonists, and you have to have peril and action. And so there needed to be more to the story than just that. When we were developing the anime footage that was the intro and the outro to the YouTube channel, when we originally produced that, we basically took the little clips that were the intro. They were only about 5 seconds long, and we repurposed it as a PV, or promotional video. That later was expanded to about 1:15. We added narration. Then we released that first PV as a full in development teaser.
Right. For especially people on Doki Doki Drawing, many of them are amateur animators and, amateur mangaka, trying to one day make their own, maybe American-produced anime, or maybe go to Japan and produce their own animes. Was Sherbert becoming an anime actually like a main goal from the start, or is it, like you say, it was to make intros and endings for the YouTube channel and then just naturally became a PV for this?
Yeah, well, that's
anime?
Pretty much. I mean, that's kind of how it developed. It was never originally the goal to make an anime, because we made the anime intro and outros. The idea developed and said, like, this would really work as a series.
Right.
That's when the work began on developing the storyline and fleshing out the other characters in the story. So it wasn't just Sherbert, it was Sherbert and Erika and all these other characters who make up the anime and manga storyline.
I see. So it wasn't like from the very start. It was like, one day we'd love to make an anime, so let's start working on this and that. It was more like, we've got something here which clearly would work quite well as an anime. Let's roll with it and go with this project and make it happen.
Pretty much from the moment we saw the storyboards for the sequences, that's when we knew that we had something, and started working to develop it, so that by the time the animation was actually finished for the YouTube channel, we had a packaged pitch to go with it. Okay, so also, as a producer, you're not involved with maybe the actual drawing of the individual cells in the animation. So one question I'm curious to know is, wherever you are, you have to find the talent to work with for these projects. And where did you start, searching? Well, I mean, I had worked with anime studios in the past. I do independent game production, where I would produce anime cutscenes for game studios. Right. When they're doing visual novels and such, but they're not based in Japan. So I had built some relationships together with some other studios. For this particular project, I focused on studios that had drawn, cute characters. And so we landed on Zekshizu, which is the studio that was involved in Jewel Pat. Now, originally I was like, let's, here's a cute character, let's mess him up. Because that was the original premise, was that, Sherbert was going to get into a lot of trouble, and there was a lot of danger and violence, but he's got to look cute. So we teamed up with Zekshizu to make the intro and the outro for the YouTube channel, and it's very adorable and cute and action-packed as well. It's quite exciting. It makes you want to know, okay, what is the actual story that leads up to this encounter where Sherbert's flying through the air and changing costumes and all this? Yeah, true. There's only so much you could put into a 5-second intro, but one of the intros has Sherbert facing off against, he's at the school and he's facing off against a rival Bancho, and they've got, I forget, they've got swords and bats with them, and he's just standing there and he's got the high school uniform on. He's all I know it's a character archetype, but immediately everyone says it and they say, is that a Jojo reference? Because everyone's like, oh, it's Jojo. I'm like, no, it's not Jojo, but I mean, if you're gonna ride the JoJo train, you might as well get on it because everyone says it. So
funny that you mentioned that. That is something we're very used to at Doki Doki Drawing. I think we could draw a stick man on this channel, and they'd be like, "Oh my god, is that a JoJo reference?" Somehow it always has to come back to JoJo.
Yeah, everything's a JoJo reference.
There are people who want to, like, YouTube is their end goal. Like, they want to be YouTubers or they want to set up a channel. But Sherbert's kind of interesting because Sherbert's like the center of all these different parts of these media. So you've got the channel, the anime, the manga, and then you've got these like live streams. You've got this. Sherbert has a presence in VR, like virtually as well. How do you keep all of those things organized to be like an IP?
Well, I mean, it's kind of not really organized.
It's not. The answer is it's not.
I mean, if you think about it, the live streams sort of live in their own space because they're more improvisational. So when you see Sherbert in a live stream, Sherbert is speaking very fast and very free form. It's not scripted. In a sense, it's a chance for the character to come alive and to interact with people. Much in the same way that you go to a theme park and they've got a character there and someone's doing the voice, and so it's like you're interacting with a character from the movie or a TV series.
Absolutely.
Disney does it with the Finding Nemo. They've got the turtle crush, and he talks to people and at the parks. And
no, I think that's really interesting that you're not too strict with the way that Sherbert will be presented in all the different medium, because I actually wonder, do you feel like that's just quite natural for all media these days, is to have like a very disparate lots of different aspects of the self just being produced in like there's the live stream version of Sherbert, which needs to be a bit more interactive, and then there's the character Sherbert who needs to be a little bit more shy when walking around Akihabara and like approaching maids at cafes. And
I definitely think that there's a benefit because media itself is now decentralized and spread out over so much. Originally, you had TV, you had theatrical, that was it.
Yeah.
Now you've got YouTube, you've got Twitch, you've got other streaming platforms, you've got web comics, you've got Lion Manga, and you've got Bookwalker, and everyone has access to things, and it's so much easier to get ideas put out in front of people than it was 10 or 20 years ago. And the diversification of media across all these different platforms is really beneficial to independent creators and, people with ideas, that you don't have to get a contract with a major studio or a network in order to get your idea out there.